Congressman, what do you think? Do you think George Santos is ultimately kicked out of Congress?
Oh, no question. He is a serial liar who, with the report now out, is proven to be a serial liar. And, everything that I and many of my colleagues from New York have said for months has borne out. And I think it is time, long past time, for George Santos to go. If he had any dignity or decency, he would have resigned yesterday. But obviously we'll see between now and the time we get back whether or not he pleads guilty or resigns or both, and whether or not we obviously have to come back and expel him. I bet the votes are there when we get back.
You think the votes will be there? If there's a Republican tonight who's on the fence and doesn't know which way to vote, what would you say to them?
This isn't about party. This is about country. It's about the institution. And anyone who is serving in public office needs to hold themselves, and we need to hold them to a higher standard. George Santos has defrauded the voters. He defrauded donors. He defrauded the NRCC. His treasurer pleaded guilty about a month ago. A staffer pled guilty just this week to impersonating Kevin McCarthy's chief of staff on a phone call with donors to try and defraud them of money. And obviously, he misused campaign funds, including paying for shopping sprees at Ferragamo and Hermes, and including a subscription to OnlyFans. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. It is, would be like an episode of Veep, and it would be funny if it wasn't so sad and pathetic.
It's funny, except it's not, because it's disturbing. I mean, I'm assuming you were elected at the same time that he was. I'm assuming you knew you're not supposed to spend your campaign money on that kind of stuff.
That goes without saying. Look, I think campaign funds are meant to be used to get your message out to the voters, to help elect you to public office. They're not meant to be used for personal gain in any way. And, obviously, at the end of the day, this is about the public trust. This is about the people that we represent being able to trust that we have their best interest at heart. And when you see episodes like this, when you see individuals like this who get elected to Congress, it demeans the office, it demeans the institution, and it really does break the public trust. So I think this is far bigger than party, it's far bigger than politics, and it's time for him to go.
Well, given that, we heard from Speaker Mike Johnson today. He says he's troubled by the report, but he didn't explicitly call for Santos to resign. Do you think that Speaker Johnson should?
Look, I'll let the Speaker speak for himself. I have said repeatedly that George Santos needs to resign. I called on him to resign going back to the beginning of the year. I called on him to resign when he was indicted. I joined my New York colleagues in putting an expulsion resolution on the floor and voted to expel him. He needs to go. And I think after this ethics report came out today, the sentiments I have heard from many of my colleagues, including those that were waiting for a level of due process here, is that he's got to go.
But Speaker Johnson, I mean, he's the leader of your party, and you're saying that politics should not be put over that here. Don't you think that that means, the leader should call on him to step aside?
Well, I think the Speaker said in his statement that we need to put the institution above all else. And so I think, I would read between the lines there that George Santos needs to go. And if he's unwilling to, show a little bit of decency and dignity here and resign, then he needs to be expelled. And I expect that when we get back from the Thanksgiving recess, if he is still a member of Congress, there will be a privilege resolution brought to the floor. And he will be expelled.
Congressman Mike Lawler, it is something that you have been saying for quite some time now. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks, Caitlin.